So just before the weekend, there was a story that came out, and I'll read it from CTV News, and the headline is this: PM Trudeau, feds will soon, quote, strongly recommend contact tracing app. So in it, Justin Trudeau says that the federal government will soon be strongly recommending Canadians download a to be determined monitoring and exposure notification application. So this is something that's been kicked around by many legislators in the wake of the COVID-19 crisis. The need or the desire to require people, even on a voluntary basis, or suggest that they download tracing apps so that if you ostensibly come in contact with somebody who tests positive for COVID-19, that you would be notified, perhaps put in quarantine, who knows, or that if you test positive yourself, all of your whereabouts could be shared with the government, perhaps health agencies, in an attempt to stop the spread of COVID-19. And some countries have integrated this as part of their defense. For example, Taiwan, I believe South Korea did as well too. But as we're reviewing those countries' utilization of this technology, first of all, there are countries that have employed this that do not share the same framework of civil liberties that Canada has. And also, there have been instances that have been reported in the media where that data, like there's data that have come to light that have had implications for the person whose data was shared. And these implications were not good. That's putting it mildly. So knowing that this was going to be an issue, and you'll remember I came to you and I talked to you about this at the end of March. I actually issued a statement. I'm just looking at my computer here. It was on March 25th that I came out and said that, whoa, we need to have a framework in place, and Canadians need to absolutely be assured that there's not going to be a breach in data, or we're not going forward with this. And to date, like it's now 2 months, it's actually 2 months to the date that I issued the statement. There really hasn't been any progress at all on behalf of the federal government for assuring Canadians on how, in that situation, their data would be secured. And that's wrong. So the Prime Minister has missed a step here. You can't come out and tell you that he would like you to download a contact tracing app and then miss the step of how he's going to fix the woefully inadequate privacy laws in Canada. So I want to give you a couple of examples about how bad our privacy laws are in Canada. So in that time, since I issued that statement, there's a big story. It's dated May 20th. It reads, Facebook to pay a $9 million fine in Canada over privacy claims. So Facebook had to pay $9 million, and I'm just reading from a story online here, over false or misleading claims about the privacy of citizens' personal information on Facebook and Messenger. $9 million. I gave comment to a national media outlet on that story, and I called it a joke. First of all, it was from the Competition Bureau. It wasn't related to the Privacy Commissioner. Our privacy laws in Canada, you're not going to find anybody who says that, no expert is going to say that they're adequate. You'll remember this was, I'm just pulling up another story here. This would have been late in 2019. I'm reading a headline, and this is in the Financial Post. Statistics Canada overreached with plan to collect Canadians' banking information, says the privacy czar. You'll remember back to when Statistics Canada said that they were essentially, it was uncovered that they were potentially going to look at individuals' banking data. Like, what? So since the end of March, I have been working to try and bring awareness to this issue. Canada's Privacy Commissioner has come out and listed a set of criteria that would need to be in place in order for a contact tracing app to be recommended. I issued another statement at the end of April. I've been trying to raise this issue in committee, asking questions about would our already weak privacy laws apply in certain situations. For example, if apps were developed pro bono. What about Bluetooth hacking, right? I mean, I'm not a technical expert on that, but I would like to know that a hacker couldn't spoof my whereabouts and then have that be part of a contact tracing app. This is like what I don't want to see happen. Look, everybody wants to keep Canadians safe. Everybody wants to make sure that we are healthy, that we don't see COVID-19 continue to spread. Fair enough. We want to do that. We need a plan to do that. And obviously continued lockdown is not a tenable solution in any circumstance. So obviously we're going to need to do contact tracing. It's happening right now with people on making phone calls to people who have tested positive for it. But we shouldn't be giving up our right to privacy to achieve this, right? So if Justin Trudeau is coming out and saying he's going to recommend an app for contact tracing, he needs to back it up. And he needs to, first of all, address have a very concrete plan on how he's going to address these gross gaps in Canada's privacy legislation, and trying to be constructive. You know, I've put forward suggestions and a plan on some of the things that need to do this. I know that there's members of other parties that are looking at this as well too, but I don't know about you, but without that plan in place, I would be very concerned about downloading that app. That's for sure, because Canada's privacy laws are inadequate. And here's the rub. We need that privacy framework right now, because that could be a tool that we could be using in Canada. Justin Trudeau has had several years to address these issues. I mean, like the Cambridge Analytica issue came to the forefront during his tenure, I believe. So we've had all of these incidences where, you know, experts and case studies have showed that our laws are inadequate, and yet he has refused to address those gaps. And now we're in a situation where Canadians need to be able to say, I trust the privacy framework that's in place such that I feel comfortable downloading this and utilizing it. But he hasn't done that, and that's a huge problem. So, you know, if there's any media narrative, or you're hearing people push back and say like, well, if you don't download this, you're not doing your part for the health of Canadians, push back and say, well, the government hasn't done their part to assure me as a Canadian that my privacy is sacrosanct in Canada, that it's going to be protected, that we have an adequate framework to do that. And we shouldn't have to trade off our privacy and our rights to privacy and our civil liberties in order to address a pandemic. We should be able to have a strong framework, that we have confidence that there's strong laws, there's strong enforcement, so that we can be compliant in a situation like that. And that, according to the Privacy Commissioner, according to experts, that does not exist right now. So don't accept that line. Don't let people put it on you that somehow you're deficient. Put it on the Prime Minister of Canada, who needs to address the lack of privacy laws in Canada. We shouldn't just be pushing forward and saying, download an app, without addressing privacy. We shouldn't have to give up our civil liberties in Canada in order to be healthy. That's just a false dichotomy, and it's not an argument that anybody should accept in a G7 democracy. So Justin Trudeau, if you or one of your staffers who you've assigned to watch to my Facebook channel is listening to this, you might want to recommend an app. I know you're down the garden path on this, but you got to fix the privacy laws first, big time. And nothing that you've done has given, over the tenure of you as a Prime Minister, has given Canadians any comfort, or have shown any credibility that you want to keep our privacy safe. Any of the stuff that they've put forward has been lip service. It's been eviscerated by critics, and it doesn't have teeth. So they need to fix that. If you want to read my statements on this issue, they are on my website under the news section. And I do list a framework of criteria that we would like to see in place before this happens. So we want to be healthy. We want to be safe. We want to stop the spread of COVID-19. We also want our civil liberties, and we shouldn't have to give them up in order to do that. Working hard for you. Have a great day.